Hey folks, Wally DM here, and today we're going to take a look at a puzzle where the characters are trying to escape a dungeon. Now this is going to be a 2-room puzzle, so they're going to get clues in both rooms, and the first room is going to consist of some spooky, creepy ragdolls that are sitting around having a tea party. There's a strange and eerie message that's written on the wall, and in the second room they're going to encounter a large iron gate, the entire area shrouded in fog, and the way to get out is to get through the iron gate. But where specifically through the iron gate do they get out of? Now if you would like to see the written version of the puzzle, and if you would like access to the handout in order to give to your players, then you're going to want to pick up my brand new book, Wally DM's Journal of Puzzle Encounters On to the Next. It's now available on DriveThruRPG along with 50 other puzzles, and I'll put a link to that in the description below. And if you'd like to see me run this, you can take a look back at October of 2023 when I ran this puzzle in a Halloween one-shot. Now we have some creepy dolls and some iron gates to get through, so let's get started with this puzzle called the Tea Gate Party. So in this puzzle, the characters are trapped in a dungeon and the only way out is through an iron fence. Now clues for escape are hidden in a cryptic message that's etched into the wall of a children's playroom. When the characters enter this area, you can read them the following. In the center of the room is a small wooden table with tiny teacups neatly arranged at each place setting. 3 of the 6 available seats are occupied by tiny ragdolls, one dressed in yellow, one dressed in blue, and one dressed in red. A steaming kettle in the center of the table gurgles and releases steam. On one of the walls, etched into the floral wallpaper, is an unsettling message: get out. Now this message that's on the wall is going to be essential for solving the puzzle, and I would highly recommend that as a game master you give this to your players as a handout. So you'll either want to draw your own, or you can print and cut out the one that's provided for you in the Journal of Puzzle Encounters On to the Next. So speaking of which, let's say one of our characters comes over and gets a closer look at the message on the wall. They're going to see the words get out, and then they're going to see the sentence really strong tea, you very weak, and above each of those is a vertical line, a left parentheses, a right parentheses, a vertical line, and a vertical line. Now once you give the players this handout, they should immediately recognize that each word has a capital letter. Capital R, S, T, U, V, and W. If the players don't recognize these capital letters, then whenever one of the characters comes up and investigates the wall, then you can give them that information. And as we can also see above each of these capital letters, we have either a vertical line, a left, or a right parentheses. Now with regards to the 3 dolls, this is going to be totally up to you as the game master and how you want to set this up. These could actually be animated dolls that might creep the players and the characters out, or these could just simply be rag dolls that are placed neatly around the table. Be sure to let me know how you would run this puzzle in the comment section below. But regardless, this is all of the information and the clues that we're going to be able to obtain from this room. This is actually a multi-room puzzle, so the next portion where we're going to gather more clues and try to get out of this dungeon is going to be in the next area. So let's move on over to the Iron Gate section. So in the next area of this puzzle, the characters are going to enter a large room or an enclosed yard with an iron gate. Now this iron gate is going to serve as the exit to this dungeon. The characters are going to need to figure out how to get by it. Now surrounding the characters in this entire area is going to be a thick fog. Now the characters are going to notice right away that there is no visible way to open the gate, and the bars are close enough together that only a tiny sized creature or smaller can squeeze between them. Now any creature that tries to climb over the gate, teleport through it, or squeezes between the bars is going to become lost in the fog and eventually is going to reappear in the room in which they originated. So they would climb the fence, teleport through, they would walk into the fog, and then eventually they would make their way back through the fog and into this area, kind of like a loop. Now if the characters were to examine the iron gate and look closely at the base of each of these iron bars, they're going to notice a 20-foot section consisting of 26 of the iron poles, and each of them is going to be inscribed with a letter of the alphabet at its base. And the letters are arranged in alphabetical order from A to Z. So you now have all of the information you need to solve the puzzle. You have the message that is on the room with the dolls, and you have the iron gate with the letters inscribed A through Z at the base of all of these iron poles. With everything that's been provided, do you know how to solve the puzzle? I'll give you a second if you'd like to figure it out. Did you get it? Great! Let's go over the solution. So in order to solve the puzzle, our character is going to need to remember the message on the wall. Get out isn't a threat. It's actually saying to get out, you're going to need these clues. So in order to get out, we're going to need to look above each of the capital letters where we either have vertical lines, left or right parentheses, and we're going to see that the R has a vertical line, S vertical line, above the capital T is a left parentheses, above the capital U is the right parentheses, and those are the two that we're concerned about. These aren't actually vertical lines or parentheses, these are actually meant to designate iron bars. And now that we know that they're representing iron bars that are in the fence, this also indicates which of these are strong and which of them are weak. And we can tell the weak ones because they can be bent to the left or the right, and the weak spot in the iron fence is going to be between the iron bar marked with a T and the iron bar marked with a U. So if our characters come back over to this room with the iron gate and a character with a strength score of 12 or who succeeds on a DC 12 strength athletics check were to bend the bar marked with a T to the left and bend the bar with a U to the right, then this is going to open a teleportation portal or a gate wide enough for a medium-sized creature or smaller to fit through. And when the characters crawl through this section of the fence, it's going to teleport them out of the dungeon or to an area or place they are familiar with. And they have successfully escaped the dungeon and solved the puzzle. But now let's go back to the dolls and the tea kettle. Surely there's a reason that we chose the words really strong tea, you very weak. Now this again is wholly up to you as the game master, but the way that I ran this puzzle was each of these three dolls were like miniature hags, and they would offer the characters some tea when they came in, and the tea tasted very good, and I would give each of the characters that drank the tea anywhere from 10 to 20 temporary hit points. But the other thing that the tea did is it also made the characters very weak to the doll hags magic, and what they want to do is they want to escape this place, and to do so they may need to manipulate each of the characters, so I gave them spells such as Charm Person. And if a doll were to target one of the characters that drank the tea with a spell such as Charm Person, then they would have disadvantage on the saving throw because the really strong tea made them very weak or susceptible to the hag doll's magic. Now, by making these three NPCs that the characters encounter doll hags, they can also manipulate the characters. They know exactly what this message means. And if the characters or the players struggle to come up with a solution to the puzzle, they can give them the solution if they promise to help them out. And again, if any of them drink the tea, then perhaps they'll use some persuasion through their spells, and the characters that drink the tea are going to have disadvantage on those saving throws. Now, why didn't the dolls just escape through the iron gate themselves since they know how to get out? Well, that's the other option that you could use when you run this puzzle. Perhaps when they go into this iron gate room, there are some huge monsters in here that the doll hags were afraid of, and they're going to use the characters to defeat the monsters, and when the characters are occupied with those monsters, those doll hags are going to escape through the fence. And then what happens next with the doll hags? Well, perhaps the characters will see them again in the future. So that's all I have for you today. What did you think of the puzzle? Is this something that you would use in your game? And if so, what would you do differently? In particular, tell me about the ragdolls that are in the room. Would these be unanimated objects, or would these be doll-like hags like I used them in my puzzle? Be sure to leave a comment below. And also don't forget you can get the written version along with the handouts that you need to run this puzzle in my brand new book, Wally DM's Journal of Puzzle Encounters, On to the Next. Now available on DriveThru RPG. Thank you very much for watching, and on to the next.